But we really only need a few questions, right?
Yeah. So
should they auction for an opportunity to write a question?
No, I don't know about that.
Okay.
I think what we could do is we'll work on how we're gonna monetize that, but we're gonna get you guys to submit some of the questions this year. So you will be able to, if your question's good enough, because we'll have to judge them, but you will be able to figure out some deep, dark secrets. Now, how many couples do you have room for? Do you have room for 5 couples or just 4?
Well, we managed 4, but I don't know if you've noticed, but our space is bigger.
Yeah, so I think Beige and Heather are a couple.
Beige and Heather are a couple.
Yeah. They can newlywed.
Should we add a 5th? It'll take longer. We had to do it in 2 parts last year.
Oh, that was fine. It was fun.
All right.
There's other couples I can volunteer, but Kara's shaking her head at me.
Thinking about questions. So once again, who was the boy's favorite Disney princess? What was the thing that your partner does that is the most irritating?
What about people that live together for a long time?
Yeah.
Like roommates.
You know,
there's an intimacy you don't get with roommates, though.
Yeah. La 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 la.
When I lived with Adam, there was an intimacy I lacked that I.
No.
That's okay, Graham.
I haven't been paying attention.
What about coworkers?
Coworkers?
Or is that less than roommates?
I'm sorry, if Ash and I don't get to participate, you wouldn't.
You could. We'd have good times with you.
I just don't want to volunteer you without talking to you first, because that's not a nice thing to do.
Jerry, we have the call.
we have the call.
Oh, sorry.
So anyhow,
All right.
Questions?
So
this is
we have Michael Davis on the line here with us.
And Michael created
the device.
Which we should probably disable, because doing lefty during this phone call.
No, you can leave it on.
All right.
Hey,
Michael, how's it going?
Hello. Everything's going great here. How are you guys doing?
Doing great, you monster.
Hey, Michael. Why don't you give us a little bit of background on who you are and what led you to create this horrible contraption?
Okay. As you said, my name is Michael Davis. I work as a software developer at the Center for Advanced Public Safety at the University of Alabama, Roll Tide. And see about either during or shortly after Desert Bus 6, I just had this idea pop in my head. You know, would it be possible to make something that could play Desert Bus? You know, something you could plug into the controller board. And so I started doing a little research. I found there was actually some pretty good documentation for how a Sega Genesis controller works. And I had heard of stuff like Arduino before, so I read a little about that and, kind of started getting the idea, okay, maybe this is possible. But I started thinking about it for a while, and I realized it seemed like that was kind of, boring, or it didn't fit in with the spirit of this event. So I kept thinking about it for a while, and I eventually had this idea. It's like, well, y'all are probably the best people at playing Desert Bus in the world. It's, I guess, kind of maybe a dubious honor, but so you don't need anything to make the game easier. So could I do something to make the game harder? And so I thought about it a while. I kind of had this idea of something like RPG status ailments or something. So, we do something and it, causes something that messes with the controls in some way. And I thought of a few ideas for that. And so I sent an email saying, hey, I have this weird idea. Are you interested in it? And
we said yes, and then responded irregularly.
Yeah. So, once I got some interest in it or whatever, I started experimenting with things. I actually have some things I can kind of show you here that are some of the older versions or prototypes or whatever. I guess I can kind of start with. Let's see if I can show you this. So This is kind of tricky to aim. So this mess
Jeez.
is basically kind of how everything started out.
That looks like fun.
Yeah. So this is, a whole, and this isn't the whole thing because I don't have the actual microcontroller anymore because those are in the actual ones you have. So yeah, this is just a bunch of chips plugged into this two breadboards here because they won't all fit on one of them. And with some colorful ribbon cables here that are have the actual controller and console ports. Actually, one of these just came out, but so that's kind of how I started experimenting with this. Let's see if we can put this back now.
We have a shot of the one that you sent us on Skullcam at the moment. That's the actually I'm gonna. Anyway, I just really like the carrot of the 3D printed.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Michael got these 3D printed. Got the cases 3D printed specially for it, and everything looks super awesome. They.
I should, I guess, give a shout out to the 3D printing lab at the University of Alabama. They started that a few years ago, and basically they offer as a service. Anyone can give them pretty much anything, and they will print it. Any students or staff at the university, and they will print it for free. There are some limitations on what they will do, so one thing I saw someone asking earlier, if the device would be auctioned off at Desert Bus, and so I have to go ahead and explain. One of the limitations they have is that nothing they make can be sold without explicit permission. So, we talked about this, earlier at some point after I found out about this, and so I think the idea is no, we're not going to sell it. If we did, we would have to, take everything out of the enclosure and do it without the enclosure.
Boo.
So
also, we'll need it for next year.
Yeah, and that's also the other part is, we would like to, I think, be able to keep using this in the future.
Well, we have plans.
So let's see. I can show you a few other things here. This is kind of a later version. This is, the first one I got that was, really something that was kind of production quality, I guess. I'd never had an enclosure for this, but this was the first time I'd actually gotten a custom PCB made for the this part. So what this actually is, so there's three parts here. On the bottom kind of part, this right here, the bottom layer of this is a Arduino Mega 2560 board. This part on top here is a Ethernet shield, which is just a board that plugs in to the top of it and gives you an Ethernet port. And then this last piece is the custom thing I made that has all the stuff to actually interface with the Sega CD. So this is one version I made. Now, I guess one thing I should point out that the ones you have actually are not using an Arduino board. It's actually a NetDuino board, which is a pretty similar kind of thing. It's a microcontroller. It uses the same form factor as the Arduino boards do. It's using a different actual microcontroller on it, and it's actually programmed in it runs the .NET Micro framework, so I can program it in C#, which is what I do most of my actual work in. So I'm really comfortable with that. And actually, the control software, which I don't know if you have any way to really show that off or something, but there's software that runs in the device. There's also software that runs on a computer separate from it. That's what allows you to control it. And that does not include the actual roulette thing that they're using. That's something the crew set up. I wasn't really particularly involved with that. I do like your whole setup with that. I was going to ask. I haven't. I haven't watched. I haven't been able to see a whole lot of stuff today. There's still a couple of effects I haven't actually seen trigger. So have you hit them all and I just missed some of them, or are there still?
I don't recall.
There are some I haven't seen either.
I mean, obviously, I haven't been here for the whole time. Let me just look through our list. I've told the people that we have 9. I mean, 10 if you include normal, and two of which are we've been saying 2 of them are positive. One of them is neutral if annoying, and the other ones are negative effects. I'm just trying to see here.
I would say low gear again is not negative; it's just annoying. I think
Okay, so 2 that are positive, 2 that are neutral and irritating, and the others that are bad. I don't think I've seen. I personally haven't seen this one. Ian, is that triggered?
Oh, I don't know if that's triggered on its own.
You want to? We've hit everything but slippery? No, we've seen slippery. It just immediately crashed the bus for James.
Yeah.
It just went right off. Fugi seems to think
Really?
slippery is actually broken.
I thought he got the lefty one first. I was watching the whole time.
He crashed twice.
But and then
Chad says spin the wheel again. Well, let's reset to normal.
Okay, if you're gonna reset to normal, let me know.
Okay, we're about to do that. Okay, so you're on normal. Are you good, Jer?
I am confirmed normal.
Okay. Shall I random it, or should we try like reverse or something?
Let's give him
Okay, let's try this. Doodle doot. Hut. Reverse mode.
So
Confirm not going yet.
reverse
Hold on.
in 3, 2, 1.
Reverse.
Yep, it's reversed.
So that's just a simple left-right reverse.
Yep. So it's not quite as insane as lefty.
How miserable is that though?
It's-
when
it-
you're
I mean-
so used to.
So lefty, I would say, is generally worse. It plays with your head more. Reverse is, I mean, it's sort of the same thing that I'm used to doing, so I'm just pressing the other way on the D-pad, and because your fingers never really move when you're playing Desert Bus. It's sort of like, okay, I get into the habit of it. The weird thing would be, like, if I wasn't expecting it, it would surprise me. I think a combination in the future of lefty and reverse,
Ooh.
which would be like
Oh.
you put the controller upside down and use
Yeah.
it as normal.
VM Kid in the chat is asking if I can explain the effect of slippery. To be honest, I'm not entirely
I can tell you,
clear. Okay,
so
what's it supposed to do, Joe?
It continues any button input or any D-pad input until another D-pad direction is pressed.
Oh.
So if you press left, it'll keep going left until you press right, and so on.
So it's the idea is you were driving on a slippery road or something. So it's like an ice level in a platformer. I guess you just keep going. And,
I think my favorite is veer. You just have to fight it all the time.
Yeah.
Veer is basically the same thing as slippery, except when you let go, you go in the opposite direction you were going.
Yeah, veer actually was your diagram in a meeting.
Oh, yeah.
That's
why I like it.
Yeah, I was like, that's really clever. Actually, we'll get Michael to implement that as well.
Yay!
So.
All right. Let's see. I've seen a few people in the chat asking about
you can
this back here. So,
oh, it's a worm from Worms.
You remember this?
Yeah, that's a Desert Bus. A Desert Bus craft
from Desert
craft
Bus
line.
6. I believe it was Garfman was the name of the person who made this, I think, and I believe I've seen him in the chat. So I really like this. I usually keep it at my office, and I've gotten a lot of neat comments about it. So thank you very much.
Sweet.
Let's activate slippery.
All right.
I want to try it. I think my feeling going in was that slippery would be the hardest effect.
All right. Are you gonna
Put
go
me back
right?
to normal first, please.
Are you gonna do normal first? Or are you gonna go right into it? All right.
He's in normal.
Okay, it's normal now.
It's normal.
Slippery.
In slippery in 3, 2, 1.
So slippery is not broken. Slippery works as intended, and it is terrifying. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Please do not crash the bus.
Wow. It moves you really quickly.
Well, yeah, because in Desert Bus, the longer you press the direction, the faster you go in that direction.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Slippery is bad. Slippery
Ooh.
is...
Oh, this is super stressful. Oh,
Every
God.
time he gets closer, left like, oh
You
my
might-
God, stop it.
Because you
I
can't-
can't see the people in tech, but Kara's just like...
Wincing. Yeah.
Oh, funny, no.
Johnny loves it.
I can't... Okay, so normally in Desert Bus, I'm able to like focus on other things in the room. I cannot take my eyes off the road. This is...
Oh, yeah.
You want to see Desert Bus in hard mode, Slippery is it.
Confirm Slippery not
The
broken.
chat is very, very fond of Slippery.
No, they said it's terrifying. The chat says Slippery is terrifying.
No, they like it.
Why did you play God?
Complete clench. Oh man. Well, Michael, thank you so much for this madness.
Yeah. Let's see. I have a few other things.
Oh yeah. What's up?
So there's one more. I guess I haven't seen you do, which I don't know if it's one of the ones. Which there's a couple that are on there that I believe you decided not to use this year. One of which I understand because it actually sort of requires external input that I doubt you have set up. But I thought that the. Do you actually want me to say what it is in case
I know
hasn't
what it
come
is.
up,
I've
or-
tried to activate it a couple of times and it hasn't worked. But let me see if I can do it now.
What?
Oh well, that thing is not. That is something I was going to get into, but.
No, I haven't been able to activate that. So
Wait, are you trying to enter a cheat code?
possibly.
What? What?
Well, okay. So, this is something I did as a little Easter egg thing. And there's actually two things. Because the first one I did, when I mentioned it existed, they pretty much have figured out instantly what to do with it, or how to do it, because it was basically the most obvious thing. As someone is asking, yes, you could put the Konami code into the thing. And the way it originally worked was as soon as you did it, press up, down, down, left, right, BA, start, it would trigger autopilot for like 15 minutes.
Oh wow. That's awesome.
They when we were talking about this in the early stages of it, they pretty much immediately figured out that's what it was, and I was like, well,
what's happened?
That's a little too much, too easy.
Someone assumed control of the bus.
What is?
Johnny is controlling the bus right now.
Driving bus?
That's Ian.
It's not Johnny.
Has Ian assumed direct control?
Yes.
From the PC in the back of the room? Really? I didn't even know we could do that.
Please don't crash the bus, Ian. Ian, what are you doing?
Ian,
Why are we still on this?
Who's in control?
Who's got control?
You do.
I have control.
What?
Total control.
He's doing it with
Are you going right?
Ian, teach me your ways!
It's crashing. It's crashing. It is in the process of crashing.
Where's the smugness now?
No, it's dead. We've crashed.
It's too late.
Okay.
Yeah, such is the hubris of man.
Good job, Smacker's like, no. Wait.
Ian,
The Twitch plays
man was not meant to have that much control.
In your defense. In your defense, I just checked and you did activate the Easter egg.
Well, that's something.
Okay. Okay, so getting back to the Easter egg thing, I guess. I kind of decided it's like, okay, well, they figured out immediately, and that's an obvious thing to try, I guess. So I think at some point, I think it was mentioned Gradius 3 for the Super NES. And I'm a big fan of the Gradius series. Well, in Gradius 3 for the Super NES, if normally in those games you pause the game and put it in to get full power ups. In Gradius 3, if you pause the game and put in the Konami code, it instantly kills you.
Really?
So what I did in this thing is if you put in the Konami code, it activates and randomly picks a negative effect and makes you drive under that for a while.
Wait,
so,
and that's active now?
If he did it, they should be able to see that in the control app. So
Ian, you said that he successfully activated the code, right? Oh.
Wait a minute.
Vindication!
So
J'accuse!
Alright. So
We didn't let Michael finish talking. We should have listened.
Now, I will say the original function is still in there, and I was saving this for when I called in. So, in Gradius 3, what you had to do is you had to put in the Konami code, but you had to use the L and R buttons instead of left and right. Now, the Sega Genesis controller does not have L and R buttons, so I couldn't do it that way. So instead what I did is you put in the code backwards, starting with start, and that will activate autopilot for 15 minutes, I think. There is sort of a limitation to this, however. You cannot just do this forever because in the Gradius games, typically the way it worked was you could use the code like once when you start, and then you got one more use of it every time you cleared a level.
So you get one use per point?
Well, we don't have a way to signal to the thing that you scored a point. I think I did it, you get one use per shift, basically per 12 hours or something. Like every 12 hours, I think, you get another chance to use it. So each driver could theoretically use it once. If a driver didn't use it, it could sort of stock up. Although if you actually have unplugged the thing at any point, it would reset. So there. If you put in the code backwards, you can turn on autopilot.
So you get first crack at this, Jerry. You get 15 minutes of reprieve at some point.
Well, guess what? It is on Veer right now while I am trying to enter a name.
Oh. Can you...
you may, because of, so if someone's got the actual control app open, there's a checkbox in there that says like processing enabled. They can click that. It will disable the thing temporarily, and you should be able to get normal control back while it does that.
Poor college lad in the chat says Mike confirmed to be actual mad scientist.
There's
driver name
a friend of mine who I work with who actually does call me a mad scientist. So hopefully he's actually watching this right now.
Hey, Jer.
So hello, Daryl, if you're watching. So let's see. Let's see. There's a couple other things I think they're not going to be using this year. I had a couple of things in there that were based on this idea of running out of fuel or something like that. So one of them they're not using because the way it works is something external had to send the device fuel over the network.
Yeah, we decided for this year that we would keep everything within the game, but who knows what could happen in the future.
There's a second version of that I did that doesn't work that way. That the idea is you have to manually pump fuel.
Yeah, that sounded
And-
awful.
Yeah, you had to alternate pressing up and down very quickly, or your fuel would run out and the A button would stop working. So there's that. There are things I wanted to do that we couldn't really figure out a way to make work. That would require, in particular, that would require some visual feedback. I really kind of wanted to do something with QuickTime events.
Excuse me?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was a discussion that we had for a little while.
Right. Well, I think we should leave any further speculation on other things to do with the device for after Desert Bus, and we'll we don't want to ruin all the surprises.
Yeah, we
So
wanna
let's
keep it fresh for DB9.
Yeah.
Because there are, there are some things like QuickTime events that I could see potentially happening at some point
God.
in the future.
Sounds awful.
There's definitely some effects that we struggled on ways to implement them, and we really wanted to, but didn't quite get there. So yeah. For now, I think, Michael, we are going to have to get back to our drive and fundraising shenanigans.
Indeed.
But thank you so much for this.
Yeah, thank you so much.
This has been such a amazing and popular inclusion this year, bringing some much needed levity to Desert Bus, which had become such a button-down affair.
Mhm, yes. Everything was so serious before. So yeah. So we'll let you go for now, Michael. But thank you so much for calling in and telling us about it.
All right, well, thank you for having me on. It's been a blast.
Thank you,
And I'll
Michael.
still be watching. I'll be in the chat. So
Awesome.
Thanks, Michael.
Who are you
Michael.
in
Thank
the
you.
chat?
Trust me, chat loves the device.
Chad
Oh, yes.
loves the device, as you've no
Indeed.
doubt seen.
That was a strange noise from the other room. Hey, just real quick before we get on to anything else, 12 minutes and 25 seconds left in a donation drive for the Space Invaders toque.
Slash beanie slash knit
beanie
cap.
slash knit cap.
Can you model it for us, please?
Actually, Kathleen, you want to show that off to Skull Cam or Normal Cam? It's in
Yes.
that bag right there.
Your
There.
donations of $7.77 or
Or
multiples
multiples
of
thereof.
nice.
It's really nice.
It's super nice, eh?
It's
Eh?
It's a nice toque, eh?
Eh?
That's nice Space Invaders 2K.
Oh, it's really nice.
So, yes, if you've just joined us or have joined us only recently, $7.77. And as I say, I know people are like, oh, there's a big auction that they're waiting for the donation to come in that'll push them over 100K. There is no reason to let that stop you. We have more milestones to hit. Let's just keep pushing on, and it'll come in when it comes in, and we can. I'm sure we can stomp 100K even without that donation.
I think so too.
I think so too. And it looks like Mike is ready with something else very exciting.
Oh, are you ready for that?
Right here.
Is it go time for that?
If you want it to be.
Oh, sweet.
Perfect
All right.
timing.
Oh, wait, hang on. I should probably turn off the lower third, huh? Zoop. There we go. So we were running a contest for the best video game trivia question. And the winner of the best video game trivia question received, they've been packed up, received a selection of gaming-related literature. But as an added bonus, we also have a bunch of video game questions that our erstwhile trivia overlord, IQ 2000, is going to now quiz us with.
Yes.
So
do
how
we
do you want
wanna-
to do this? Yeah, do we want to have teams
Yeah,
or?
we should have teams. Andrew called that he wanted to be like. Do we want 2 teams?
Maybe 2 teams, and then I can just say who got it, who got
Yeah.
it, and then
Is there
the
like
answer.
an app